I was tagged in this post and I skimmed it. And as I was skimming it, I was chuckling. She says, "Am I overreacting? Kicked out boyfriend after 3 days. What could he have possibly done? Let's read this and chuckle together. We need this. We need this laughter." All right, so she's 30, he's 28. She says, "I've been dating this guy, we'll call him Chad, for almost a year. He lived over an hour away, so we would see each other 1 to 2 times a month. Chad had been living with roommates who were not planning to re sign the lease, so I offered to let him move in with me in the house I owned. We agreed he would pay all the utilities. It's usually 100 for power, under 100 for water, and however much it would increase with him moving in, and $75 a week. So $500, $600 a month in a high cost of living area where even a room for rent is $800 a month. Within literal hours of him moving in, I knew it was a mistake. He brought a possum, a baby possum that he found 2 to 3 days before moving in, put it in my bathtub, and it escaped. Not after pooping and peeing all in my bath. He found it and then lost it again. Again, after trying to keep it in the bath, which he insisted he would clean but never did. There were literally flies flying around the bathtub within 2 days. The second night, he spilled a whole can of beer in my bed. The big tall boy ones came in with two individual paper towels to clean it up. Two, and then slept in the beer puddle. Luckily, I have two waterproof sheets on it, so I wasn't too upset. When he moved in, he emptied out the fridge at his old place, including food he took from a food bank that, in my opinion, he did not need. That food is for people who need it. And he also moved in moldy containers of food that he put in my sink for me to clean. Well, he said he would clean them, but I waited 3 whole days and he never did. He also got paid and did not send me any money. Sure, I could have reminded him of the $75 agreement, but I'm not interested in chasing down someone every week to uphold an agreement that they committed to. I feel like I made the right choice, but he is now accusing me of stringing him along all this time and wants to know what happened, but I don't feel like kicking him when he's down and basically telling him he's extremely immature and needs to grow up. Would it even be helpful? Do I tell him why? I just told him I needed my own space and didn't realize how different it would be having someone in my space 24/7. When I told him it wasn't working, I also told him to let me know if he needed some time to sort things out. He decided to just leave and go to his friends, so it's not like I tried to kick him right out on the street. Before he moved in, he cleaned around the house if he spent the night. Dishes, sweeping, hung a new screen door for me, helped me plug a hole in my tire, etc. He always brought flowers. He would call and check in throughout the day, and he would talk for 5 minutes to 5 hours depending on the day. He didn't really have too many red flags, aside from being a little immature like most guys that age are. Are they really that immature at 28? But I guess it's hard to tell when you only see someone a few times a month. So when I was tagged in, she says, "Sounds like a typical hobosexual. Don't you agree?" This is a mess. All of this in 3 days is just way too much. And women, like women are staying single for a reason. And the reason is typically because of men. Men are driving them to become single and stay single. Because if you have a house and the house is fully functioning, you got your bills that you pay, you got the way you clean up, you know your system, you can get around, and then you add someone and then all they bring is chaos and dysfunction. Why would you agree to that for long term? Obviously, this is what happens when women can be financially free and financially independent. They can live on their own. And so, like, literally, these men have to be able to come in and work within that system. But if they bring chaos, they're going to have to go. Like, literally, this doesn't make any sense. I have never heard anybody do this. Like, this is not an immaturity thing. Like, this should be kind of common sense. Why are you bringing a pet of any kind into somebody's house without, running that by them? And then to bring a possum and put it in the bathtub and then not clean up and have bugs in my house. This is an absolute no. Like, what are you thinking, bro? Yeah, these dudes definitely need to be just go live over there on your own. just stay over there. And yeah, I don't even know what to say. Sometimes people think that I'm being mean as I'm reading this, but I'm just sitting up here shocked at the audacity and the temerity to bring a possum in someone's and moldy food in containers. Throw that mess away. Why are you bringing moldy food to somebody's house? Like, what is this? Okay, so this person whose name I accidentally cut off says, no, you're not overreacting. The way he instantly changed as soon as he moved in should be a red flag immediately. It makes me wonder, did he do his share of chores at his house or make his roommates do everything? And the way you said, and he also moved in moldy containers of food that he put in my sink for me to clean. Well, he said he would clean them, but waited 3 whole days and he never did. Why are they already moldy? That right there should be a sign that he can't clean up after himself. Moving in and bringing in moldy containers, disgusting. Possum? The possum? Don't get me started. Not only did he not tell you he put it in the bathtub, no proper cage or holding space, what did he try to feed it? Did he try to water it? Why didn't he take it to a shelter where it can be properly taken care of? I don't know what state you're in, but in most, I think, don't quote me, states having possums as pets are illegal. Looked it up. If you're short on time, here's a quick answer to your question. Possums are legal pets without a permit in just a handful of states, including Oklahoma, Arizona, Delaware, and Missouri. Most states prohibit owning possums as pets or require special permits. So just in case you needed to know about owning a pet possum. So unless you live in one of those states and he legally went and got a permit, he can't keep that possum either. Speaking of, what did he do with it after he left? And the beer spill? Simple answer. Clean the bed sheets, dude. Like if you spill something on anything, you immediately want to get it clean, especially if you know you're going to get sticky, stain, smell, etc. And where you sleep? Gross. So in short, red flag. You're not overreacting. And here's the OP talking about the bathtub and proper cage. He says, yep, in the bathtub. But to be frank, I suggested that since his idea was to keep it in a small 11 by 11 Amazon box with the lid closed and no blankets or anything. I suggested the bath, but added towels and keep the bathroom door shut in case it got out. He didn't do either of the two. He fed it an apple, a boiled egg, and some water, even though the number one thing you do if you find a baby possum is not feed or water it. I'm also in Florida, so it's totally illegal to have. It was lost as of Friday morning, and then when he came to get some of his stuff yesterday, he found it outside in the front yard. I'm sure he has it back in a cardboard box by now, and is probably planning to drive it to New York with him when he goes to move back in with his mom. What in the world? The thought process is beyond me. Spring Peeper says, unless it manages to escape again, that possum is probably going to die. I know it isn't really your problem anymore, but if you feel up to it, you could report your ex to animal control. Dangerous Roll says, as a fellow Floridian, this guy was sounding a bit too normal. Racing Type says, I was thinking the same thing. Once OP says she was in Florida, I was like, okay, this makes perfect sense now. Gourmet Gutter says, not overreacting. That sounds like a nightmare. Is he still your boyfriend? It doesn't sound like he has much respect for you or your property. And the OP says, absolutely not. LOL. Our relationship ended the second I asked him to leave, and he knew it. All right, we got Six Steve saying, dang, girl, I know how to do dishes. What you doing later? And then the OP says, deep cleaning my tub and soaking in some Epsom salt after carrying this man through the last few days, laughing my behind off. And then Brave Signature says, Steve, don't be asking a stressed out woman what she's doing. Follow up her bath comment with massages and flowers. This 60 let her know that he knows how to deep massage. Okay, so this was so ridiculous that we needed to start our day with this. And so there you have it. You're welcome. We can't always have seriousness, but yes, this is definitely a pest that needed to nest and rest. And he didn't get a chance to rest for too long because he had to go. Please, sometimes we make mistakes. This woman made a mistake, but correct your mistake as soon as you figure out you made a mistake. Don't let it go on for 3 weeks or 3 years. Be like, nah, bruh, nah, fam. This not gonna work. All right, y'all. Enjoy the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.